Hi, everybody. This is Craig Gibbons. I'm a senior finance officer on the finance in the finance team. I know it says Ty on there. I just stole his username and password for this presentation. This week, we're going to go over a new product that we have for our finance team, and we're really excited about it. It'll change processing a little bit, but it gives your clients a lot more opportunities to get funding that may have been more difficult to get in the past. But I also want to introduce Miss Suzanne Young is with us. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, everybody.
And after I'm going to go over the program. We'll do a quick Q&A on it, depending on how long that goes, and then Suzanne has some administrative things that she wants to go over that are new, and go over her availability to support you guys as well. So what I'm going to go over real quick, and if anybody has, here, let me open up questions, or if anybody wants to wave a hand or ask a question in the middle, or if there's for some reason you can't hear me, please let me know. But I'm going to go over we call it our new 4 products line. Okay, and what's good about this is there's 4 different products that we have that are underwritten by the same underwriter. So we look at all 4 programs, and then possibly even a 5th if they qualify, which would roll into an SBA. Pardon me. So what we can do is it's very simple now. So it's a 1-page application. We need the last 6 months business bank statements. And I know what some of you thinking that's a revenue loan, but we can actually approve 3 of the 4 of these products or 4 of the 5 of these products just on bank statements. And we also need the 1-page application. If there's more than one business account, then we would need that account as well, even if it's just a transfer account. So any business accounts that are associated with the EIN of the business, we would need those as well, last 6 months. And what we do is we would send that in, and depending on the requirements. So these are the products. We'll go from a line of credit, lock, unsecured traditional bank line of credit, to a term loan, to a hybrid revenue/MCA, to a traditional revenue MCA. And all of those obviously will depend upon the quals. And I'm briefly going to go over the qualifications for each one. But keep in mind that there's other things out there that obviously, bankruptcies, BKs, UCC filings that are unsecured, all those types of things can come up with a file, but these are the basic requirements. Okay. So with 6 months in a bank statement, 6 months bank statements and a 1-page application, it goes to underwriting. They're going to look at all 4 of these products. So we'll cover the first one, a revenue and merchant cash advance. Minimum requirements, for those of you that are familiar with this is a short-term, high-interest rate loan that's designed just to help companies get from, one pitfall and get out of that hole and recover from it. So the first one would be the minimum FICO score is a 501 of the business owner. Business credit is only looked at if it's negative. Must minimum 6 months time in business, with 3 months time in business, 3 months of bank statements. The monthly average is basically where we're going to be at for a 6 to 12 month loan. So let's say the bank averages for those 6 months are 12,000. We're going to be right around that amount in the max loan amount that we can do, and the terms would be between 6 to 9 months. And obviously, a lot of that is dependent upon the time in business. Now, the next step up that we would look at, obviously, it would be for a hybrid. Okay, a hybrid is a 600 FICO score and above, 2 years time in business. We're looking at heavily at the bank's revenue, obviously, but the reason why it's a hybrid is because it'll go to a weekly payment, and we can go out. Our normal approvals between 18 and 24 months, which puts a lot less stress on the cash flows of a business, but at the same time, it covers the risk for the lender. Okay, and then the next bucket up from that would be our term loan. Our term loan, we have interest rates between 6 and 9.5% on a monthly payment. No fees, no excess origination fees or anything. It's solely based on the strength of the business's financials, mostly the business bank accounts. The minimum is 2 years time in business, 300,000 annual gross revenue, a 660 hire of all owners, and we start at 50K and go up as high as 500,000 on our term loans. We go out anywhere from 4 to 6 years on those monthly payments. And then the 1-step bucket up from that is for our lock. Our line of credit program is 5 years time in business, a minimum of 300K annual gross revenue, and amounts go up from there, meaning that we'll start off at around a line of credit around 25,000, and it'll go up as high as the revenue will allow us, meaning the more annual gross revenue they have, the bigger the credit line that we could give them. So it's about a 40% difference between annual gross and the max we can do. And what's the beautiful thing about this program is all of these can be decided with no credit pull. It'll be a soft pull up front, and once your client decides that they want to keep that loan and they want that particular loan, because all different programs will be pitched to them, and then when they decide which one they have, then there will be a hard inquiry right before funding, make sure that we didn't miss anything. And we generally can fund these between 5 and 7 days once we receive all the documents necessary. It kind of streamlines the process. It really helps the client out. It protects inquiries, and it gives us a good vision on what that company structurally and financially can handle when it comes to the size of loans that they could qualify for. So we're really excited about that. It moves the process a lot quicker. And then it also feeds into our SBA program. If we got higher credentials on our SBA program, we can also do SBAs as well. SBAs, just so for those of you that don't know, SBA loans we do, depending if they're 7 or 5s, it really doesn't matter. The biggest thing on those is that we can go out in longer terms, which allows us to get a lot higher approvals. So even though it is you got to jump through a lot of hoops, and it does take a lot of financials to get going and to get it. But once you get it, you're going to have the lowest rates, and you'll be able to go out a much higher percentage of your annual gross. We can almost go up to 200% of annual gross revenue. And the reason being is because we can go out, 10, 15, sometimes 20 years to keep that monthly payment below our revenue to debt ratio. That's generally required by lenders. If we're looking at a traditional non-SBA, then obviously that amount for that same company, that approval amount would be a lot lower because the term would be a lot shorter, meaning that payment would be a lot higher on a 5-year versus a 10 or 15. So I hope that answers some of your guys' questions. We're really excited about this. This kind of fits our niche here. There's a lot of companies out there that are looking between 25,000 and 75,000 for working capital. They don't know where to go. They don't know how to get it. They don't want to use their, just put it all on personal, and that's where we come in, because all these loans would report to business credit and do not show up as trade lines or anywhere on their personal. So with that being said, we're really excited about that. Does anybody have any questions about that program at all? Don't hesitate to type it in now, and then I can start answering those questions, or any other product that you may have a question on before I turn this over to Suzanne. Any questions at all? None? I don't see any. Suzanne, do you see any questions popping up on your side?
Not yet.
All right. Well, I'll monitor that. If you want to go ahead and
they just don't know what to ask yet.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, we're going to definitely record this one and get this one back out too, because I know they're going to be asking for those cheat sheets. But if you want to go ahead, Suzanne, and then I'll monitor the questions here. And if anybody pops up, then I'll start getting the answers ready after you're done with your portion.
Okay. So I wanted to spend a few minutes, and this is for, I guess, mostly if you're new partner, but some of you may not know this option. I'm going to show you this video.
And right here, you will see their first name, last name.
This just shows you how to really get the most out of your back office, as it has to do with your direct funding clients.
Just turn it down just a little bit if you could. It is like a little. Thanks.
Here we go.
I wanted to go over how you can access the client dashboard and to view any of your client notes from our finance team or the advisory team to check the status, whether they're responding or not responding, and the last date that our advisory team has contacted your client. With being an executive subscriber, it unlocks multiple benefits, but one of them being the access to view all of the clients that you have entered into your dashboard. So on the left-hand side, if you click on the client dashboard here, you will see a list of all of the clients that have been entered in by your sales reps or by you. And right here, you will see their first name, last name, their email, the date that you added them into the system, as well as what step they're currently on in the Business Credit Builder if they're enrolled for the Business Credit Builder program. Also, they will see the funding status, whether they're in processing, if they're inactive, or if they're active, and also the status, whether they're responding or they're not responding. This portion here is if they've logged in recently, or if they're speaking with our advisory team and they're going through the steps. And if you want to take a more deeper look into your client, you can always click on the view icon right here, and this will open up all of your client's information and also access to their notes. And you can also modify some things. So if you need to update their email address, you can always update the email. If they're unable to get logged in, you can update their password. And also you can modify their phone number if they have any updates to their phone number. The other thing that you have here is the option to view their steps for the Business Credit Builder program and where they're currently at and what information that they've submitted over to the Business Credit Building program. Up here, you will be able to see the client files, as well as add your own client files by using the drag and drop, or just to click here and upload files for your client. The view notes, this is from our advisory team. You also have the option to add your own note that our advisory team will be able to read and see. And then right here is if they have yet to set their password, you can resubmit the instructions to your client to get them logged into the system. The other thing here is you can see that what memberships they're currently at. So right here, you can see that this test client has been enrolled into the Business Credit Builder, as well as the Finance Blueprint Qualify. So you can submit them over for direct funding, and they can also utilize the Business Credit Builder program. Right here is the finance stage. You will see all of the updates from our finance team and currently what status they're at or where they're currently at with their funding.
So this might be a review for a lot of you. If you're not executive partners, it's one thing to look into to have access to all of that with your clients. The direct funding program, he was talking about the advisory team when they're going through the Business Credit Builder program. But if you enter a client in on your Add Clients dashboard as a direct funding client, then those clients aren't going through the Business Credit Builder. They're just getting funding with our team, the team that Craig and I work on. And the best way to find out what's going on with my client is to look at those the stage, the notes, and if they're in a stage like info needed, that means our processing team is going through and requesting documents from them. Usually you will be CC'd as the partner. The other thing to note is when you see an email that is that has 2 stars at the beginning in the subject line, we're emailing the client. Any of those emails go out with those 2 stars. We're just CCing you so you know what's happening with the file. So when you reply, it often will reply all, even though you don't see the client's name on the email. They'll get that email too. So if you have questions about the file, if you have comments, any notes that you want to add, go into that area at the top where he was showing to add notes, and that's the best place to get in touch with our processing team, and then they'll get in touch with the finance team if you have any questions on the file. If you just want a quick update, or if you have any questions, or if you want to say, this client is looking for the program that Craig mentioned, then that's the best way to do that. And then it will go right into their file. Any questions on that? It might be a review for some of you, but we know that there's a lot of information in the back office, but we try to make it so that it's nice and smooth for you as partners. No questions?
Don't think we have a lot of questions today.
Yeah.
That's good. Maybe it's redundant. All right, well, guys, I don't want to cut it too short. I was hoping we'd have some Q&As on for our 4 products that we have with one underwriter. That covers a lot of ground for us in the finance office. Obviously, UBF or unsecured business financing, equipment financing, SBAs, and obviously our Ford loan product here are our main products that we give, that fits most of what we were talking about. But also, hold on, I got, hi Regina, you said you logged on a little late, you wanted me to repeat. I can go over it real quick if you guys would like me to. But it's our 4 product line, and I'll briefly go over it. And this, keep in mind, this is also being recorded, and you guys can go back and listen to the details. But basically, the gist of it is we have 4 programs with one underwriter. So we have one credit check, one underwriter, 4 different programs, which really, really streamlines it. And we're looking for obviously the best. So looking at, different buckets within that program, we have a revenue bucket, we have a hybrid revenue bucket, we have a term loan product, we have a line of credit product, and we also have a pre-qual for an SBA, and that may be offered as an option to the client, if the client decides to go that way. But in all of those go to one specific underwriter, and we can determine all of what I just said on 6 months bank statements and 1-page application. We're trying to streamline it. We generally don't require financials, anything less than 150,000. Anything over 150,000, then we're definitely going to dig in. Unless the underwriter sees something that doesn't make sense in the banks, they may request a profit and loss, or a corporate tax, or the last corporate tax return to look at, cost of goods sold prior. So we definitely want to look at that and on the implications when it comes to stuff that's kind of close to the expectations of what the clients want. We always ask for the most, because we can always go backwards, we can't go forwards. So, if we get approved for 300,000 and they only want 200,000, then we're good to go. If we're always going to ask for the most, just so you guys know. But knowing the amount that they want is very important, obviously. But we do look at everything. So to get just a quick refresher, just as far as time in business and FICO scores for the owners and business credit scores, all business credit scores need to be above an 80 minimum. When we get into the term and lock, we need to be an 85 or higher on paydex. So that covers all of those as far as that's concerned. As far as the personal credit and time in business, for MCAs and revenue loans, we started a 501 FICO score, 6 months time in business, and got to have banks that make 10,000 or more. Our hybrid is 600 FICO and above. Same parameters. We look at the business bank accounts. We look for higher amounts for this category, which allows us to go out 18 to 24 months. Our term loan product is 2 years time in business, a minimum of 300K annual gross. That's the minimum. 660 or higher on the credit, and we start off at 50,000 and go up as high as 500,000 on our term loans. 6 to 9% APR monthly payment, with no additional fees or charges. Our line of credit starts at 5 years time in business. A traditional line of credit, 5 years time in business, minimum of 300K a year in annual gross revenue, and then we can go up from there. Our lock maxes out at 1 million, and that would be relative and proportionate to the annual gross revenue. So based on that, hopefully, and keep in mind, all of those products are determined with one application, 6 months bank statements by one individual. So it streamlines the process and lets us know right away what bucket that client would fall into, and allows us to provide better service and a lot quicker turnaround. So we're really, really excited about that. So especially with term loans, there used to be a huge gap between a traditional term loan and a revenue loan. It's either, you get 6% APR, or the bucket right below it is 40% APR. Or not APR, but 40% interest, and that's just a huge gap. There's got to be in betweens, and this is what this covers. It covers the in betweens. So we can get more people qualified, and get those that would have qualified into the lower bucket into a better bucket to save them money on interest and moving forward. So hopefully that answered your question. Is there any other questions out there at all as far as finance or USDA loans? I'm not really sure. I'd have to get back on that. Carla, if you can, I know your number. I can call you after if you're available and talk with you one-on-one about that. Know what you mean on USDA. Any other questions out there, guys? metrics. All right, hold on. Product to finance signs. No, we don't. We used to do vehicle wrapping and signage, but we don't do that product anymore. Sorry about that, Ralph. We don't do it on that one. Credit Suite charges fees. We never charge any fees. The only fees that would come from a lender, and most of the time that's on a real estate transaction. Other than that, there's no additional fees. The only program that we have that has a success fee, and it's not upfront, it's based on performance, is our unsecured business financing, and that's because it's a service that's provided. It's not really a traditional lending. It's us providing a service to them, going after the A banks and higher credit limits for them on our credit card stacker program. So that has that 9.9% success fee rate on those cards, and that's in the back office about our UBF program. We offer a lot of loans over $1 million, but they would not fall underneath this particular product. Like I was saying before, most of the time you get over $1 million, collateral is going to be involved. There's very few businesses out there that collectively can handle just $1 million unsecured, and if they do, you will be one of the first ones to do it, because generally that type of business already has some UCCs out there, has some type of credit facility that is either tying up their revenues or their assets. But we can also look at that. I get loans as high as $5 million with no collateral, but it's very, very rare. We don't normally deal with companies that large, but they are out there. The process for an SBA loan, that is a question I have here. It all depends, really. SBA loans get underwritten 3 times, and that's after we get everything. And majority of the time, I get a decline on SBA is because of the background checked on the client. And what I mean by that is, I've even had one get declined based on a pending divorce. Because they did not want to fund the business because it was going to be in litigation during the divorce. So little things like that well, that's not really little, but they actually look at that type of stuff as well. But SBA loans generally take anywhere from 4 to 5 weeks to close. And a lot of that time is, if it's going to be collateralized, it can take longer, because we're waiting on appraisals, environmental reports, feasibility reports, and those types of things. But generally on SBA is 4 to 5 weeks. Went over the 4 programs again. Based on personal credit, I'm assuming you're referring to the 4 programs. Yes, we do look at the FICO scores of the business owners and the business credit. The stronger the business credit, the less we look at the FICO score. Really strong business credit that has comparable debt already on there, which would take a while on the size of loans we're talking about. Then we could look at doing what we call corp only at that point. It'd be a corporation only or non-PG. But 99% of the loans we'll have to look at some sort of the credit of the business owner, and then that would determine where we go from there. But the loan itself, whether it's an equipment loan or a working capital loan, it'll only report to business credit. It will not show up on their personal credit as trade lines, but we will look at them as owners of the business. All right, let me see here. Suzanne, there's a question in there. How do you become
I can't see those questions.
Yeah,
but
I know. That's why I'm trying to read them to you. It says, how do you become an executive, and does it change the cost of the program?
Executive Partner Program is an additional $99 a month. It gives you the opportunity to submit those clients that aren't wanting to purchase the business credit building, but you can put those clients in as direct funding, and then our finance officers like Craig Gibbons would call that client using white label, saying that we work with your business finance suite, and then we'll get funding, like the funding Craig was talking about, and then we split that commission with you, a portion of that commission. So that's one great way to make money if you've got clients that are on the fence about doing the business credit builder but are ready to get funding. If they've got some income coming in, if they've got decent credit scores, then we can get them funding within a few weeks usually. So that's one way. If you have questions about getting into that executive partner program, you can contact me. I'll make sure that your information gets back to our sales team, or if you already have the name of your sales rep, you can call them and they can upgrade your membership. I am the partner relations rep for those executive partners. So if you've got any questions, you can contact me at Suzanne at creditsuite.com. It's SUZANNE at creditsuite.com.
All right, I have a question here. Will startup companies qualify? If you're talking about SBA, yes, they can qualify. 99% of the time, though, they would be collateralizing something with a startup because there's nothing there yet in the business, but it's really good business plan. Obviously, you have to have very good credit. You have to show that you can service the debt during the interim of you switching from W-2 or 1099 to being a full business owner if it's a straight startup, or if you have another company and you're earning a second, then we'll look at we can actually use the first company to actually leverage for the second. But SBA is generally what we look at for any large types of startups, types of loans. We do have a few consumer loans that we can help out for those that do not qualify for our big uh, startup business program, which is our UBF program. So we do provide some personal term loans for somebody that might need a quick influx of cash to get into, let's say, a brand new lease to do a build out to open up a nail salon or something, and they don't qualify anywhere else. We could do that for them in the beginning and then roll that for tax purposes into their business later. But our UBF program is what's utilized the most for our startup businesses. It works perfect with startup businesses. Most entrepreneurs and people that want to start a business generally have good credit in the beginning, and in the first 90 days of launching their business, they overextend themselves on their credit launching it using for their expenses. It drops their credit score down to a 620, and then they come to us with no revenues and a 620 FICO. So it's very difficult, but we can catch them before they do that and show them what the UBF program can do for them with business credit cards, with no financials, no bank statement, no anything. All I need is articles of incorporation and an EIN number and qualifying credit, and we can get them maxed out as high as 150,000 in EIN only business credit cards. And a lot of those cards come with an 18 to 24 month 0% interest rate. Most of them do, but it all depends on the full file, obviously, when you go through it. But that's the best program we have for startups, because it gives them working capital that's more or less off the books. It's not going to report anywhere on their personal credit, and only reports to business credit. Not all of them report to business credit, just like not all of them don't report to personal. So there are anomalies out there. There are certain cards that don't report anywhere. And then there are certain banks that actually, like Capital One Blue, I'll tell you, a Sapphire is a business credit card. It'll show up on your business credit and your personal. So it kind of defeats the purpose of what we're trying to do by divorcing you from your business. But we already know that, obviously, and our credit department works diligently on all those new programs that all the banks come through. So that's one of our best programs, is our UBF program, and that's in our back office as well, under partner resources and finance resources.
Yeah, in the back office, if you go to the finance resources, you'll see the videos that explain and describe those different products. So look through that back office under the finance resources, and we'll have all sorts of information. Has the funding cheat sheet as well as the different videos about the different products that Craig's been talking about.
I have one more here. Let me see. Yeah, the material also, the advertising material is also back there as well. The commission splits are 50%. So yes, we split everything with our partners. So whatever commissions we get, now keep in mind, we do not do third-party agreements, and we don't charge any money up front unless it's maybe an appraisal, but that's not us, it's actually the lender. Credit Suite does not engage in any third-party type of thing to get more points out of a client. That would be up to you and your business. But as far as we're concerned, whenever you fund anything with us, whatever is and each product is different, so that's why it varies. But we split 50-50 with you, and we'll let you know exactly what it was, and we could show you. We tell all of our partners, we're very transparent about that. But that's how we do our commissions on there. And commissions can get kind of hairy and slippery too, especially when you get into purchase order financing and accounts receivables. We have a partner that, for the last 2 years has been getting about $300 to $400 a month off of one client every time they invoice every month. So it'll all vary upon the product and where, sometimes we negotiate to take some of our points down from the lender so we can close on a deal. But all of that's done between the finance officer and yourselves to figure out what's best for the client, how to get the deal funded. That's what we care about the most. Any other questions? Let me see. All right, I don't see any other questions unless somebody has something I didn't answer. If you want to, I'm seeing if making sure just real quick here, guys. I'm going through the questions, make sure I didn't miss anything. We talked about SBA, we talked about the 4 programs, personal credit, startup. That's pretty much it, guys. Does anybody else have? Oh, wait. Can home equity? Here's a question. Can home equity be used as collateral? No. If it's owner occupied, we cannot use that for a business transaction anywhere. If they have investment property or commercial property, yes, all day long, we do it all day. But if they live as their primary residence, they're protected under HUD, and homestead, we can't touch that for business purposes. They would have to go do their own HELOC somewhere with a mortgage company to access that money. Any other questions? Anybody got any questions for Suzanne? All right. Okay, guys. Once again, I think Suzanne, this is going to be recorded and available to the partners to listen to again. Is that correct?
Right. I think one of the issues was that they didn't change the name of this webinar from last week's webinar.
Yeah, I'll have Joni edit that.
Okay.
That way they know.
All right.
Because it still says I'm Ty on here. I wish
Well,
I had
it also says that we're talking about live events, which was last week's webinar.
I know that was last week's.
We don't know anything about that.
Yeah, got you guys. Sorry about that. But yeah, so we try, once again, Suzanne and I will be on here once a month. We try to do it the first Tuesday of the month because all the other Tuesdays we're really, really busy helping your clients, especially the last week of the month because everybody's trying to fund before the end of the month. So we generally try to do these the first Tuesday of any given month. We come up with new topics. We've been working behind the scenes to try to put together maybe another chat room or a Facebook page or something where we can put these on there where all you guys can have access to it and also talk to each other about lessons learned and what's working, what's not out there in the field. So hopefully that's working for you guys, and we're going to try to get better at organizing that. But keep in mind, we're always going to talk about any new products that we have coming out, and we'll also reiterate some of the products for some of the new partners that are joined on. So some of it will be redundant and some of it will be new. So we try to keep a blend on there so we make sure everybody is up to date, up to speed on our products and how we work. So, all right, guys. Well, that was great. Thank you for all the questions and participations. Hold on, let me see. My pages. All right, I have a question here. What email can we use to send info for finance? I'm assuming you want.
If you already have a client in the system, then go to that place where I showed in that video, click on their name, and then let me get to that screen. You can see it. Oh, it's right above here. Let's see. Right here where it says view notes. If it's not already in the system and you just have a question about it, you can always email funding@suitelogin.com, and that goes to our processing team. Our processing team is awesome. They answer any questions they can, and if they can't, then they get it to the right finance officer. So again, it's funding@suitelogin.com. That's the best way to get a hold of our team if you have any questions. Does that answer your question? But if it's about a specific client, then go to view notes and add a note.
Also, I see a couple of messages about the portal page is just spinning. While we're on here, I just shot a Slack out to our chat to our tech people to look into that right now. So hopefully they'll have that remedied here shortly. But you may want to after the webinars log out and log back in. But I did put a trouble ticket in for you guys on that one, just so you know I did see that. Let me see here. Commercial real estate 25% down 6.5. Yes, put it in. We can do it. 25% down, 60, yes. 650 FICO score on commercial real estate. That is very doable. We have hard money and soft money on both of those, depending on what they want to do. If there's if there's stress, they need to rehab it before they rent it out. We'll go into all kinds of things. All right, that's all I have. Oh, wait. Got one more. I can't see who asked that question. There was a question out there: is how do you need to show taxes for this program? And I'm not sure which program you were referring to. Is that Ivan? Can you type in which one you're referring to? Which program?
The programs Craig was talking about, you don't need to, right, Craig? Any of those?
Yeah, 90% of the ones I've talked about today do not require taxes.
Except for SBA.
Right, SBA would require the taxes, yeah. But for commercial loan, I've got a low doc loan. We don't have to worry about validating income or revenues. It'll be credit and asset driven, and hopefully there's rent rolls in there. All right. So guys, my number is, I'll give you guys my number so you can call me directly too. It's 727-386-8971. I'll do my best to answer as many calls as I can, but do realize when I'm not doing what I'm doing right now, I'm talking to your clients and or calling you, updating you on clients all day long. Plus dealing with banks. So try to keep it light if you can. And we also have what's the finance number, Suzanne? I'm sorry, it's on speed dial for me. I always forget it.
Oh gosh, you're asking and now I can't find it. If you have any questions, you can call me and I'll get you that. 727-777-4503.
All right, guys. Well, we've had a great webinar. Thank you very much for attending. We will get a little bit more organized, a little bit better with this as we move forward, especially with the topic. We tried to get the topic updated, and I think that was my fault. I didn't give the right information to the right person. But hopefully, you got out a lot out of this webinar, especially with the 4 programs with the 1 underwriter. That's a big step for us. That should give a lot more expedience to the file and the process. So to cut down on having a changeover if they're not qualified for the next program. So that'll really help out. If you guys keep in mind, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to any finance officer and or Suzanne. If the processors or Suzanne cannot answer the question, they will get us to you. And you can also schedule an appointment, a little consultation, 10-minute consultation with any of our finance officers at any time and in your portal as well. You can schedule a time that's best for you to make sure that we can take your call. So hope everybody has a great day and go get them. Have a great, safe weekend. Thanks, y'all.
Bye-bye.